Where? Hello there. Once again, it is time to take another revealing peek back into history.
What famous date shall I set it to today?
Once again, it's time for Throwback Thursday. A second chance to look at some truly awful podcasts. No, wait. A second chance to see how far Vicis Interimo has come over the last 8 years. New episodes will be released pretty much weekly, but Thursdays I've reserved for throwbacks to see how far we've come. A lot of the information on here no longer applies, whether that be businesses or links that may not work anymore, so be advised of that. But again, I want to thank the patrons that we have at this time, though they may not have been here the first time these episodes were recorded. I am thanking them again because they're helping us move forward with our new episodes. And those are patrons such as At Lonely Bob, Big Al V, and Goldafish. In the meantime, I hope that you enjoy what you hear. Welcome to episode number 78. Wow.
Okay, it wasn't me that time.
Because I started to say 89, and I'm like, no, I got to correct that. Make that...
So how'd you come up with 78?
I can't even imagine.
At least the 8 is right.
Yeah.
I don't know where you got 7, though.
98? Does that sound better?
I have no idea.
Let's try it again.
You better double check.
Welcome to episode 98 of Vicis Interimo Time to Kill. I'm your host, Michael Mad Saxon Jones, with my lovely wife, Lori. Today's movie is Let the Right One In. I think we're going to forego our Laid to Rest segment, just get right into our review of the movie, and then we'll finish up with Garbage In, Garbage Out, and probably don't have a Crawling Chaos for us this week, do you?
It is so sad, but no, I don't.
Okay. Well,
does anyone miss that segment? I don't know. They seemed lame in the past.
I miss them.
But I'll try harder. Well, I'm not going to do them just for you.
Oh. All right.
Because I can come up with something. I only have 2 weeks left of school, too, and I'll be done with finals, and then I can really maybe come up with some good stuff.
Okay. You hear that? The podcast is going to be better in 2 weeks.
Well.
Actually, in 2 weeks, we're going to have a special 100th episode.
Oh, my gosh.
Yeah, it's crazy.
Yes. Wow, 100.
Our numbering system's a little screwy anyhow, so who knows how many we've actually done.
That's your fault.
But for that episode, we're going to pick... Are we going to talk about what we're going to do, or no?
Sure.
Okay, well, we're going to pick our top 5 podcasts that we have done from our past 100, or in this case, our past 99. Unless somehow I think that 100th podcast is one of the best ever, but...
Well, not our favorite podcast, though. Our favorite movie.
Well, our favorite movie. Okay.
Okay, because, I was going to say some of our best podcasts have been on crappy movies.
That's true.
So.
Absolutely the best when you get wound up by a bad movie.
Oh, I never do that, Feast of Flesh.
Well, anyhow, our movie today is Let the Right One In. So, let's insert a little bit of music here and get folks ready, give them a chance to settle in for a review of a movie that you liked the remake of. So we'll talk about that. So, okay.
Talk about it.
All right.
Hey, everyone out there in Podland. It's Jay Emmett, formerly of the Obscure 80s show. And I just wanted to take a minute here on this awesome show that is playing my promo to let everyone know that Penny Cult is back, and we're doing things a little differently now. We are starting a whole new network, and our first show on that network has launched. It is called The Geek in News, you can go over to iTunes and do a search for The Geek In News or for Penny Cult. Either way, you're going to find us, because nobody else is weird enough to call themselves Penny Cult. Anyway, our new show is up, and you can check it out, and it is myself and my good friend Casey Masterpiece, being the big, giant geeks that we are, and talking about geeky news, and having a lot of fun doing it. I should warn all of you, though, it is a vidcast, so you'll have to look at our ugly mugs if you want to check it out. But, hey, you know, it is family-friendly for the most part, too, I think. Maybe. I don't know. I wouldn't let my kids listen to it. So go over to iTunes, check it out, The Geek in News, or do a search for Penny Cult. And, yeah, hopefully you like it. Please, love me. Now, back to this awesome show that is playing my promo.
Hello again.
Hi again.
Hi. Hello.
All right, so we're just going to jump right into our review.
Okay.
So, as we mentioned earlier, this is a movie that was remade for an American audience, or, well, it was remade anyhow for a different audience than it was initially created for.
Yeah.
Yeah, I don't know. Help me out here. What is this movie about?
Let's see. What was the last thing I said? Oh, I said,
Hello,
Hello, I love that movie. Okay, but we're not talking about Alice in Wonderland. Okay, Let the Right One In. I will not try to pronounce the Swedish title. Okay, this is from 2008, and it's rated R. And here we go. 12-year-old Oskar, the constant target of bullies, spends his time plotting revenge and collecting news items about the grisly murders plaguing his town. But things change when he meets a new girl named Ellie, a misfit vampire who steals his heart. As a serial killer continues to prey on teen boys in their small Swedish village, Ellie helps Oskar find the courage to stand up to his tormentors.
Okay.
That's pretty accurate.
Yeah, but for somebody that's never seen either one of these movies, you knew this question was coming,
Yes.
Which one do you suggest they watch first?
Oh. I don't know, because we talked about this already. I, of course, saw Let Me In first, and I absolutely adored that movie. So I couldn't wait to see this one. And this one I thought was very good also.
Okay.
I liked the other one better.
Okay.
We'll talk about it. But it's hard when you watch one and then the other. So I wish I could erase my memory and then watch this one first and then watch Let Me In, so I could see the difference. So I'd need my memory back so I could compare the two. But I don't know.
Okay, well,
which one would you recommend?
I'm going to suggest...
It seems like you would suggest the original Swedish first.
Yes, that's what I would do. And for a couple of reasons. One, and this is just a general observation or my opinion of it, that this was more sinister to me, I guess sinister is the word that I want, than, or at least that was the impression that I got, more than
let the right one in.
No, this is Let the Right One In.
Yeah, oh, okay, right. Let me in. Okay.
You're getting them mixed up.
I got it mixed up. Yeah. So to me, this was a little bit rougher and a little bit grittier, and I'm going to say that. And now this would depend on who. If you're an absolute movie lover and a complete completionist, completionist. I don't. You want to see them, I think, in that order. But if you just want to be entertained in a movie, my general feeling is Let Me In has a lot of things stripped away from it, and a lot of things that made it more streamlined. And I'm using general terms here, and just say an American audience, or made a broader appeal to it. So I would say, watch the rough cut of Let the Right One In first, and then see the streamlined version of Let Me In.
Okay.
So,
well, I would recommend them both. So whichever way you decide to tackle them.
Well,
I found it interesting because when we watched Let Me In, I read a lot of reviews, and a lot of people watched it because, of course, they knew and loved the original Swedish version. So they saw that one, and for the most part, everybody liked it. I was trying to find some reviews that went the other way around, backwards, like you and I did it. But I couldn't really find many reviews of people who saw both or saw Let Me In first. So, but I wanted to see what other people thought. But
well, the first note that I have here is I wondered if it was going to suck because I know the story already.
Right.
That was my first question that I entered, that I wrote on paper that I had entering this film. I don't know. I mean, it was just something for me to keep in mind.
I love the story, so I couldn't wait to see it just executed a little differently.
And that's what you get, but some of those differences really, I think, stood out and gave you a little bit different feeling, or gave me a feeling. Like I said, I felt this was a little more sinister. So
now, see, I agree as far as Ellie's concerned. She was definitely a little more raw, I guess. Okay. A little more rough around the edges. People online in their reviews were going so far as to say, in putting an unattractive female lead, and things like that. They were discussing how she looked, like they thought she was hideous.
I don't think she was hideous.
No, but I think they're just thinking of the stringy hair and dirty face, and she was different looking. She was obviously not Swedish, and that I found really interesting because I thought, where did she originate from? She's obviously not a Swedish person. She was dark and had different ethnic features, so I found that really interesting. I liked that. I liked her as Ellie, and I liked the boy who played Oskar. But it was different. It was definitely different.
Yeah, and some of those things came down to just technical shots. There were a lot of shots that I liked in the first one we saw.
Let Me In.
Let Me In. Yeah. If I keep saying the names back to back, I'm gonna do it wrong. So
why don't we just say American version and Swedish version? Okay. The American film in Swedish.
Okay. For the American, there were a lot of things that I think were better because for one example, when you hear the voice on the other side of the wall and you don't see whose voice it is.
Yes.
That was disconcerting, I thought.
Yes, it was.
Yeah.
It sounded like a male, demon, scary, adult. It didn't sound like a cute little girl.
Right.
So it was like, what is going on over there next door?
Yeah.
In the Swedish version, it sounded like the character of Ellie, it sounded like her, but just really angry.
Yeah. What else? There was another scene where Ellie drops out of a tree.
Yes.
Onto somebody. I liked the way it was actually filmed in the Swedish version.
Okay.
I liked that scene, but I really liked the way it was in the American version too. So that was kind of a hard one for me to compare the two.
They were different. Yeah, they were. All of those scenes were done very different. the attacks, like the violent scenes, they were all handled different.
Right.
Otherwise, some of the scenes were almost, they were word for word or...
Right. What did you think about learning more about Ellie's keeper? Or... Well, let me say this. I thought we were going to learn more, and I made a note because I was interested in that.
Really?
Yeah. But it wasn't fully explored.
Right.
So then I was disappointed.
It doesn't matter, though.
Well,
you know what? Here's the thing. Something that I absolutely loved about the American version is that the adults were very secondary. Even her keeper, he had a couple awesome scenes.
Yes,
poor
indeed.
thing, poor man. Boy, he suffered for her, didn't he?
Yes, he did.
But that movie did not focus at all on the adults. They were just kind of incidental. Mm-hmm. If they were involved in the story, it showed them a little bit. This one absolutely focused more on the adults, mm-hmm. and I didn't like the attention being taken away from the kids' relationship. Kids.
I gotcha, yeah.
Kid and, one is not a kid, but I didn't care for that in this one. It sort of took away from it a little bit for me, and it's why I can say I like the American one better. I still really liked this one a lot, but mm-hmm. it was kind of weird watching the neighbors' relationships, and they're hanging out in the diner talking, and I didn't care so much about all of that.
Well, I would agree that I didn't like that either. I liked the way it was handled better in the American version.
Yeah.
But
you wanted to see more about her keeper.
Once it looked like they were going to show me that, I thought, okay, well, now we get to explore this, and we get to see something, and we get to...
Okay.
So not that I liked it better, per se, but once it was introduced, I thought, okay, well, I'm going to get something here. And then I don't feel like I really got it, necessarily. Yeah. So, like you said, the adults were more involved in the story, and that didn't necessarily help the story for me.
Right.
Yeah.
But I think as far as it being a Swedish film, I think it was pertinent or relative to that era in Sweden.
Exactly. It was 82 rather.
Yeah, 1982, just like the American one. Yeah. And we watched some of the extras, and I remember the director, writer, not sure which one was talking or if they're one and the same. We're terrible with the technical things. He was explaining that, Sweden was still behind the Iron Curtain and things were very depressed, and they really captured that and getting a peek at the adults and their life and what they do. So that was fine.
Right, I could appreciate that on that level.
Yeah,
but strictly story-wise, you didn't need them in there to advance the story, and I think that's why they were left out or minimized in the American version. So
yeah, because we still, of course, one of the women in the neighborhood is attacked, and she doesn't die, so I don't think we're giving anything away. Most people have seen either one or the other. But that couple in the American version, it's someone who Oskar sometimes sees walking down in the courtyard, or you hear them talking off in the distance. You don't really get to know the couple. Mm-hmm. And in this one, you really get to know them.
Right.
So that was a little weird. It was like I didn't like knowing about them so much and seeing their personal life, and like that didn't matter to me, so I didn't feel that was necessary.
Okay.
But it didn't ruin it for me either. They're both movies are really good, and they definitely have different things, but yeah, those are things that were different that I liked better about the first one. Or the American one.
Okay. The other note that I have here is it's proof that there are good stories still to be told. At this point, it's easy to think we've seen or heard every vampire story that's out there. Mm-hmm. And this, there may be others like it out there and stuff, but it was good to see this as an original idea and then made into, a remake or a reboot or made for an American audience, whatever the case may be. And yeah, I think it was improved in this case. But that's just my opinion. There's purists out there that are going to say, well, the first one was the one.
Sure.
Why do a second? But
they both have their good things.
Yeah.
They're both absolutely good. Okay, let's talk about the dubbing.
Ooh, okay.
Because those are some issues, too. It's almost unfair to compare. We had the dubbed version, and we were not able to, it didn't have the option to get rid of that. And I noticed some of the reviews online, people complained about the horrible dubbing.
Right.
And I have that written down under my dislikes list. Definitely the dubbing, and because I don't know what happened, but and I really need to get my hands on the plain Swedish version in the original language, because at some scenes I was thinking, oh my gosh, like fire the Foley artist, because the sound effects, there was something funky there.
Right.
I don't know if it's because the voices were so heavily dubbed in that they dubbed in the sounds and they weren't able to separate them out or something. I don't know how all that works, but some of the sounds were really awkward when her, it's sad we're calling him her keeper. The man does have a name.
Well, he's just called...
Or does he have a name?
I was going to say, in the American version, he was just called the Father.
That's right.
And
you know what? I think he was in this, too.
Yeah, and Ellie at one point...
Yes, he doesn't have a name.
Yeah, and Ellie at one point says that, it's not my father. But
right.
Yeah, that's all I see him listed as in the American version, and of course,
okay.
In the Swedish version, I can't read what he's listed as.
Right.
Anyhow.
Well, probably the same.
Yeah.
But yeah, there was a scene where he's packing a bag and he's zipping it and putting stuff in it, and the sounds just really were loud and clunky compared to what he was doing. Like it was over-exaggerated.
Right.
So I thought, oh no, what's that all about? Like that doesn't sound very good. So I was aware of it. It was a little distracting.
Yeah, it definitely was.
And then the voices, of course, that was unfortunate because it was like watching a Pippi Longstocking episode, or movie rather.
Right.
Of course, I think that was Danish though, wasn't it?
I think so.
But whatever the case, the voices sometimes, of course, it didn't go, and a couple of the voices I didn't like.
Right.
I don't know.
Didn't seem to suit the faces you were watching?
Yeah. Okay. And people went so far as to say that the voiceovers were like terrible actors, and I wouldn't say that. That's a hard job.
Yeah.
It is. You have to respect them for trying.
And especially if you're going from one language to another.
Oh my gosh. Yeah.
That's going to be tough to do. If you had to give it a number, what would you give it?
Oh. Probably about a 7.
7. Okay.
Yes.
I was going to go with an 8. So that's funny that I like this one better than you did, but you like the other one better than I did.
Yep.
Okay. So what other notes did you have there about that before we move on to garbage in, garbage out?
Well, some other things that I did not care for. Which again, I really liked the movie a lot, but if certain scenes made me go, what? I guess we'll call him the father now. Of course, it's his job to bring dinner back for her. So he has to catch and kill poor hapless victims out there around the village. But like the scene where he was draining the guy's blood by the roadside. You could see cars going by in the back. He had him hanging from a tree. It's totally bright. There's a fence close by. You could see cars driving by. It was all lit up. Really?
Yeah. Well,
that was a little funky. So, yeah, that wouldn't happen.
Okay.
And if he'd have been caught years ago if he was this foolish and careless.
That was my opinion, though, was he had just kind of given up. He had kind of given up. But that...
careless. Well, and the other thing was he had another victim that was in the school, and he was, the kid was hanging around after school. There were friends around.
Wait, was that a pun?
Yeah, he was hanging around.
Sorry.
Yes. Hanging by his legs. But yeah, if I'm looking for victims and I need to be discreet, I'm not going to pull a boy, you know, away from a school where his friends are standing right outside waiting for him, and just the whole thing was just, again, careless and foolish. And I didn't think he was getting, see, and I only know this from the American version. He was getting old and tired of the whole thing, and he was slipping up a little bit in the American one. But in this one, it didn't come off as, you know, getting tired and getting old and being, you know, not having the energy to do this anymore. This was just dumb.
Okay.
Because his friends are outside, hey, hurry up. And, you know, he's in there and he's tying, you know, got him hanging upside down and he's ready to take his blood and everything.
Right.
I mean, really? In the school? Right there? With people around?
Yeah.
So that I didn't like. So that was a vast improvement when they did the American version.
Okay.
I liked the father a whole lot more. He was a lot smarter. You really got the feeling he was exhausted.
Yeah.
And that horrible scene where he's in the car, he's trying so hard, and just everything's going wrong for him, and he's just like, I can't do this anymore. And you really felt his pain in the American one.
Right.
This guy, I was just like, what is his problem? He's just asking to get caught.
Okay.
So that was a little funky for me. I wasn't sure how I felt about, in the Swedish version, was Oscar's dad being there.
Right.
Because in the American version, that little boy is very much dependent on only his mother. His father's completely out of the picture. He's on the phone a couple times with the mother, but you have that more of a disconnection there. The boy and his parents, he's just very much alone. In this one, though, Oscar goes to stay with his father. You know, they're together and he's laughing and he looks happy, like he still has some support.
Right.
There's a scene, of course, where his father has a friend come over and then they just start drinking, and then you get that feeling of the depression and all of that again. So Oscar is kind of on his own again. Mm-hmm. But seeing him with his father and bonding and looking very happy, it made it kind of different. It was a different story to me.
Right.
Because the little boy in the American version, he has nobody.
Yeah.
Nobody's there for him.
And it makes the ending that much more believable.
Yes.
Then. Yeah. So,
yeah.
Okay.
There's a lot of people who watched this one. And I don't know if you want to do spoilers.
No, let's not do spoilers. We should probably wrap it up pretty soon.
Okay. Well, I was going to say, I think the way that this synopsis was written, where did I say it? Misfit vampire who steals his heart. Okay, she maybe steals his heart. I don't know. But people were saying, this isn't a love story. You know, it's not, they didn't feel that connection so much as I felt a connection in the American version.
Right.
And that connection, I think, came from both of I'm going to say children. We understand Ellie is not a child. But in the American version, I felt they were both very alienated. I really felt their connection. She starts out saying, I can't be your friend, you know, and she shuns him, but then, you know, he shows her a kindness and she kind of gets sucked in a little bit. I felt the relationship more in this one, Swedish one, not so much. And people were like, this wasn't a love story. They didn't have any kind of a bond or relationship. You know, Oscar maybe did to her because he helps or she helps him, you know, get over his bullies and all that. And he doesn't have anybody, so he gets attached to her. But they felt more like, and it goes back to you saying that this one is more sinister. Mm-hmm. They felt, a lot of people feel more like Ellie was just absolutely using him 100%. They were like, how many boys do you think she's done this to? She needs a new person to help her out. And, you know, it's just a total self-serving thing, and that's it.
Well, I don't know that I agree with that 100%, but I can understand where they're coming from. I do see what they're saying. I don't necessarily agree with it, though.
Yeah, because she is alone, too. Yeah, she needs somebody. But she does take special interest in Oskar and wants to know about things and ask some questions. And, you know, she could have just totally been playing him and not even, you know, showing really any interest in him.
Right.
But
okay.
so yeah, the relationship was still good. I think between them it was still there. It was a lot stronger and a lot more sweet, I think, in the American one.
Okay.
If sweet is the word for it.
Yeah.
But I just really felt it. I felt it in that first one, and I keep saying first one, and it's not first, it's second, the American version. The relationship I liked much better in that one. And then the last thing I'll say is that also in the American version, the scenes where the bullies are tormenting that little boy are so horrible and so awful to watch.
Yeah.
I think they were a lot more emotional and raw and serious.
Okay.
And I think it makes their relationship even that much better.
Yeah.
And the ending that much sweeter.
Yeah, I definitely agree.
So this one had everything in it. But I think, as you said, the American version was streamlined, and I think it was distilled down to just those basic elements, but then they were, like, amped up, maybe.
Right. Okay. Well, let's move on, and let's talk about garbage in, garbage out.
Okay.
All right.
A strange kind of love, a strange kind of feeling swims through your eyes, and like the doors to a wide, vast dominion, they open to your cries. This is no terror ground or place for the rage. No broken hearts, whitewashed lies.
There's nothing wrong with your television set. Do not attempt to adjust your picture. We are controlling the transmission.
What's that, boy? We're in control? Hey, look! I can see my voice!
Dad, you're ruining the mood.
Sorry.
We will control what you see and hear. You are about to experience the terror and foul horror of
Vicis Interimo. Garbage in, garbage out.
All right. Moving on to garbage in, garbage out. What did you think of Captain America?
I liked it.
Yeah?
Mm-hmm.
Okay. I really enjoyed it.
Okay.
We took a little while to see it or whatever, but I look forward to the Avengers when it comes out, and we're going to catch up with Thor, I guess, here pretty soon.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I think we'll be getting that this week.
All right. And briefly, what about Dinner for Schmuks?
I want to make a documentary about your life. Smashing! Champagne wishes and caviar dreams. I will have my manservant contact you.
You have been to Switzerland?
No, but I have a friend who drives a Volvo, and I speak a little of your language. Heard if he said there, heard if boo.
You come to Switzerland. You'd be the toast of Zurich.
I can't understand your accent.
Oh my gosh. I really liked that movie.
Yeah, I wasn't sure if you really liked it or just liked it.
I really liked it a lot.
Yeah, I really liked it too.
Yeah, how could you not?
Yeah, Steve Carell, he plays a similar character in several movies or whatever, but this one, I really enjoyed him.
I think he was quite different in this one, though.
You do?
He was just so clueless. Just so, not that he's clueless, I guess, in all movies, but in different ways.
Yeah.
This character, Barry, was too much.
Yeah. It was
quite different, I thought.
A lot of fun, and I think I truly laughed out loud for several of those scenes and stuff. So that was a refreshing. One we hadn't seen or didn't plan on seeing per se, but we had some extra movie channels, and I just threw it on the list. So
yeah, the title. You shouldn't judge anything by the title, but unfortunately, that just sort of happens, and I wasn't even judging it. But something about the title, I don't know.
Yeah,
it didn't grab me offhand, so I didn't really seek it out to see what it was about.
Mm-hmm.
Though one of our nieces thinks it's the best movie ever.
Yeah,
and that's all she wanted for her birthday this year was she wanted someone to buy her the movie. So I was like, what is this all about? Got to check this thing out. Because honestly, I hadn't heard anything about it, and I didn't know anyone who'd seen it. And again, I wasn't running out to see it, and I'm not sure why. I'm not usually a comedy person.
Yeah, that's what I was going to say. For most comedies, they're just not. Comedy's a pretty individual thing, and most of the comedies that are out and stuff, generally speaking, we're not fans of for different reasons or whatever. But
right.
So this was intelligently written and just.
What a good message.
Yeah, yeah.
All of those people they invited to dinner, those are my
people.
Yes, the exceptional people. Those are my people.
Yeah.
And they're not, and like Schmuks to me implies, I mean, if somebody's a schmuck, they're not likable, they're a jerk, they're a schmuck. Mm. So the title is wrong for me.
Okay. Well, I mean,
I don't know what I would rename it.
Well, I was going to say by the time the movie's done.
Dinner for dorks? No, I don't know.
By the time it was done, Paul Rudd, or watching the extras or whatever, he really summed it up. By the people that were having the dinner were the schmucks, not the folks you got to see. Yeah,
that's exactly it.
Yeah. So, Shrek 4, Shrek Forever. What do you think of that?
That was fun.
Yeah, that was good. I enjoyed that too. Another one we hadn't seen hadn't seen since it came out, obviously.
Right.
But that was fun. It was the first time seeing it, and we enjoyed that. And always, it's around Thanksgiving. This is a little bit past, but it's always Twilight Zone appreciation time.
Yes.
We didn't tape any this year or DVR any of them, but we did find ourselves glued to the TV for a few of them, and it's just, wow, that's such a phenomenal show, and how awesome are those, man?
They are so awesome. I wish I'd never seen them before. I wish I could start over.
Yeah.
Because I still love them every time. It doesn't even matter which one it is. Of course, I have about a dozen favorites.
Mm-hmm.
But any single one of those, I could sit down and enjoy it over and over.
Cool.
It would be so gosh, if you've never seen them, what are you waiting for?
Yeah. Definitely get them. They're out there. Yeah. You can buy seasons and stuff on DVD and super things. So I think we're going to wrap it up with that.
Okay.
All right.
Well, we watched one more movie.
Well, we watched a couple more movies. I was going to say we probably can't list all of them. Well, what else did we watch?
We watched Star Trek.
Oh, yes. Yes, indeed. And I'm sorry we waited as long as we did. It's been on the DVR for like 2 months now.
Yes. Which Star Trek is that?
That would be the new Star Trek by executive producer. Was it J.J. Abrams?
Yes.
Seems like it was a bad robot picture.
Yes, it was.
Yeah, and wow, that was awesome, and I'm really looking forward to the second one.
Yes.
Yeah, should be good. I don't think it'll take us this long to see the next one.
Oh, no, I'm ready to see it right now.
Cool.
Yeah, it was really good. Really good.
Okay. Sweet. Well, that's going to wrap it up for this show. Thanks for listening. You can find us at lapodcasters.com. You can find us on Facebook. That's VICISINTERIMO. You can find us on iTunes, and our webpage is working again. So if for any reason you wanted to go back and...
It wasn't working?
It was not working. I couldn't make any updates. It was still working.
I'm a little in the dark.
Yeah, always. But
I'm busy.
Yes, indeed.
I'm busy. I won't say the rest.
All right. Anyhow, I guess if they've seen Just Friends, they'll get that. Yeah, so the page is working now. This episode will be uploaded here very soon, and the last 3 episodes have been uploaded. And if you want to go all the way back to episode 1, you could go to bagend.biz and find all those episodes. I couldn't imagine why you would, unless you wanted to guess which ones we were maybe going to pick for our top 5. But I don't know. We'll see.
Well, we're going to pick our top 5 movies, though, not our top 5 podcasts.
Yes, but they're covered in the podcast.
Get it right.
Whatever. You get it right.
Get it right.
Get it right. So anyhow,
do you have your top 5 favorite movies?
Not even close. I'm not sure I can do this. This has actually turned out to be more of a challenge than I expected when you first brought it up.
Yeah.
Yeah. So
I've got my first 3 already.
Well, I've got 3 easy answers, but
Yep.
I'd like to...
I'm going to have to look at our movie list and see what we talked about these last 99 episodes and see which other 2.
You're going to fill out the list?
Yeah.
Okay.
We should pick our least favorite 5, too.
Feast
of Flesh. Feast of Flesh. Feast of Flesh.
That might be hard to do also, but...
That's my number, like, 100th.
Okay.
Probably.
100 all of our episodes. All right. Thanks for listening, and tune in again next week. Say goodbye, Laurie.
Goodbye.
We are the Commando Elite. Everything else is just a toy.
Something else that I wrote on here, and I'm not sure why I wrote it. I wrote, does this girl seem more child than the other? Child, quotes. I think I felt like the other one had more of a maturity about her. She was a little more stoic, maybe.
Yeah, I could see that.
This one, even though we agreed she's maybe more, I don't know if you meant she was more sinister.
Yeah, I just meant the whole movie, and yes, her in particular.
Yeah, I think she was a little more, they both had the same, if you compare the 2, they both had the same curiosities, and, they were delivering the same lines. I mean, that part of the script, I think a lot of the dialogue was word for word.
Right.
But I got the feeling that, the Ellie from the American version was older.
Okay.
An older soul.
Gotcha. Okay.
I don't know.